Okay, here we are at Rainbow Fly Shop. We're going to tie a pattern that's pretty close to my heart. It's the only thing I've ever claimed to design in my entire life. It's called the Spudler Minnow. It's a killer bass pattern. We're going to take our thread. Here I'm using a GSP because I'm going to be spinning some deer hair, and I like going with Chris Helm on deer hair, and he loves GSP for deer hair. So start it about quarter to a third of the way back the hook. We want to leave this bare for spinning hair. So start our thread in and go ahead and wrap it. Lay a base. We're going to put a little bit of lead on this thing, so we want to make sure we got a base of thread to put that on. Don't ever try and pop GSP a la Lefty Cray. You'll cut your finger off. This stuff is sharp and strong. Take some 030 lead wire, and this is the important part. This fly is going to suspend in the water like a suspending crankbait almost, only with a lot more action. We need 6 turns, exactly 6 turns. And I try and put them as dead center of the hook as I can. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pop that. Just got a tiny little piece there. Then I'll come back over, and I'm just going to give it a couple wraps over the top just to kind of lock it down. I'm going to cover it up with a zonker strip here in a second, so I'm not too worried about it. Okay, now we're going with a zonker strip, just a standard cut rabbit zonker strip. Cut it to an angle at the end. If you don't, it won't get a wagging back and forth action. I found that out playing with these flies for too long. Give you about a hook length and a quarter strip for a tail. Go ahead and get a wrap around it. Wet your fingers and then try and pull that hair backwards out of the way. 2, 3, 4 turns, something to that effect. Nice and tight. And then here's how you lock a rabbit strip in. Okay, you go up in front of it, open wraps, couple 3, and then you go back over the top of them. Really tight, and get as close to going underneath it as possible. Okay? Then just go back over it a couple more times. Back into the same tie-in spot, a couple 3 times there. And then do it same thing right again. Just like that. Right into it nice and tight. Then I'm going to go ahead and go back up in front of it, right to where we started our thread. Take my zonker strip, I'm going to wrap this up the hook shank. I'm going to lay the strip touching itself, almost overlapping, one after the other, just like that, until I get right there to my thread, pull it straight up. 2 or 3 turns around. Go ahead and nip that off. Push that back. Tie it down nice and tight, and then I build a little thread bump here just to kind of cover all that stuff up. Fluff it out, make sure it looks right. All looks good. Now I'm going to wet it down and pull it back out of the way. I'm going to take a little bit of this purple haze. This is going to be a pink and purple version. A little bit of this purple haze holographic flash. You can use any flash. Anything flashy. Okay? Use Christmas tinsel for all I really care. It'll work, won't it? So, about yay long. About the length of the fly. I got one rogue strand there. Kind of trying to pull him out. There we go. There you go. About the length of the fly. Nice, pretty thick piece there. Quite a bit of flash. I like a lot of flash in these things. Pull a little bit to one side, a little bit to the other. Trim off my little bit of excess there. Okay, now we're going to add in some rubber legs. Okay, this is a rubber skirt material. Matt's got them over there on the wall there. Just a simple little rubber skirt material. But I use 1/4 of this tab. Okay, so I'm going to fold this tab in half and cut it. Okay, now I got 2 halves. Now I'm going to fold this tab in half that way, the other direction, and cut it. Okay, now I've got 1/4 of a tab, just like that. This goes in the wrong direction. Okay, we're going to tie this in by the tab end with the legs coming this way. Tag that down. We'll go around it. It snuck out on me right there. I got him. There we go. Just 3 or 4 good turns. Hold it. Got one angled there. Okay, this is a piece of wire. This is the handy part about this, because this stuff will get in your way. It's so flexible and flimsy and bouncy. It wants to go all over. We're going to push it back. Hold it back out of the way. Whoops, one got loose. Take this wire. We'll just wrap around this fly a couple of times. This is a tool. This is not an integral part of the fly. Okay. Now we're going to take the thread back up right to the bare part of the hook. Take some deer hair. This is purple deer hair. Take a pencil-sized clump. Cut it off. Pull out the underfur. This stuff isn't too bad. It doesn't have a whole lot of underfur. This is actually a pretty decent spinning hair. It's just kind of short, but that's okay for this. Go ahead and take a hair stacker, and we're going to put this in tip first. Tips of the hair go into the hair stacker. Maybe. There we go. Stack them. Pull it out. Pull out anything that didn't want to stack there. Pull out any shorts. Then lay it in right on top of the hook. Get just about enough to go back to the barb of the hook right there, just barely past it, with the tips of those hairs. Lay it on top of the hook. Take your thread, go 1, 2, 3 times around, then pull tight and let go, and it'll spin and flare just like that. Okay. Now we're not going to pack this very tight. This is kind of a la Kelly Gallop here. He doesn't like to pack his sinking flies or slowly sinking flies very tight. He keeps them pretty loose. So we're going to keep that pretty loose. They're still going to push a lot of water and do what we want it to. We're going to get another bunch, not quite the size of a pencil, but close to it. We're not going to worry about stacking this one because this one's going to get all cut off. We're just going to flick out the underfur. Give it a real fast comb through. Try and get the goobers out. Pull out any shorts. Then we're going to set it down on top of the hook again. 1, 2, 3. Spin. Cinch it. Then we're going to give it just a tiny little bit of a pack so we can get our thread up there onto the eye. More or less, we're not packing. We're just trying to get it to go backwards so that we can get in front of it to the eye of the hook. Right there to the eye. Go ahead and whip this fly off real quick. My thread caught in there. Pull this deer hair back so I don't get any caught in my whip finish. I think I got a couple in there, but it's not that big a deal. Trim this stuff off. Trim off that thread. Okay, now we're just going to trim basically a muddler shaped head. Okay, we just want a torpedo shaped head on this thing. Just trim this stuff. Trim, trim, trim. We're going to leave that little bit of a collar we got going on back there. Just like that. Then we'll go ahead and take this wire that we wrapped around. We'll pull it off now, if I can get a hold of it. It's fighting me. There it goes. Now, all those legs are doing what they want. They're flared out nicely. They kind of want to come forward. The flash is everywhere. The bunny's everywhere. We got this nice little cone-shaped head. It's going to sink real slow. It's going to move lots of water. It's going to have tons and tons of movement with the rubber legs. And you just see it tumbling around itself in the vise here. Killer bass fly. Been one of the best I've ever had. Give it a shot. Let us know what you think, guys.